Sweet fancy Moses, the day is finally upon us. New Nest cameras. Months of my customers asking about them. Months of me wondering about them. Months of hounding Google. Months of people on YouTube leaving comments. Why do I keep repeating myself about the Nest cameras? Well, that's because we've been waiting for them and because I've had so many people inquiring about them. But today is the day. They're here. It's like Christmas. Let's talk about them. What up, everybody? It's George Langabeer with SilverHammer Surveillance. Here on the channel, we discuss tech, we discuss security, we discuss crazy loss prevention stories from my loss prevention days. But today, we're discussing tech and security. We're talking the new Nest camera, something I've been waiting for months, something my customers have been waiting for months, something that YouTube people have leaving comments. Why do you keep repeating yourself, George? You keep talking about these Nest cameras. Well, that's because we sold them every day. It's because we've been missing them for months. It's something that's been void in our repertoire, in our arsenal, and now they're back. And I'm excited because even though I'm an Apple guy at heart, I gotta say Nest cameras are the best. What can I say? So today, very exciting that we've got a new announcement, something that we've all been waiting for. Yay! So let's start talking about it. First, we got the Nest Cam battery, and so that's the normal camera. You can use this inside or outside. Battery powered, which is new for Nest. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't been a true believer in some of the battery cameras in the past, but I'm hoping that Nest, just like everything else, does it just a little bit better. So you can buy a stand for it to be indoor, or it's coming with a mount for outdoors, and you can buy a weatherproof cord for it. It's one weird thing about Nest is they sell these outdoor cameras, but you got to buy a separate weatherproof cord for the outdoor ones, depending on the install. But at least they're offering it. And again, they're offering a stand for the indoor model. So it's going to have some versatility, indoor, outdoor, which is exciting. It looks like the build quality is the same as kind of like the IQ, so I'm excited about that. The IQ is one of the best made cameras out there. So let's hope they continue with the tradition of that. It's got a cheaper price point, which is fantastic. The old Nest IQ is $399. This is exactly what I hoped for, is that the new one would be lower, and it is at $179. But what's cool about it is you've got the same alerts, and that's where Nest was above the rest as far as the facial recognition. You could actually, it'll send you pictures of people, you can name them, it'll actually start to tell you by name who it's seen after that, and it was facial recognition that actually worked. So now they've got that, but in addition, they're adding vehicles and animals, which is something some other cameras have had where Nest was lacking, but now they've got it. So that's cool. So they've added those alerts to the game, and it's wonderful. So again, best facial recognition out there as far as Wi-Fi cameras go anyway. There's some high-end cameras, but we won't talk about that. We're talking Wi-Fi cameras today. But now you've got vehicles and pets. Awesome. So going with that facial recognition, we also have the same Nest Aware service for these new cameras. What's cool about Nest Aware and kind of separates it from the other cloud recordings is that it records 24/7. If you pay that $12 a month, that $12 covers all your cameras, which is a pretty good deal because a lot of cloud storage will only save when there's motion or certain events. And why that's bad is that let's say a thief is breaking into a car and they're hidden by the car when the camera is trying to pick up a person. Well, a lot of cameras will stop recording them because that motion will stop because the movement is hidden by the car. Well, Nest Aware, even though it's not alerting you that there's a person because they can't see the person, it's recording 24/7. So that footage is still there. So if somebody steals off in the distance or they're wearing a mask, people always come at me about, what are people wearing a mask? Are cameras that affected? Well, this records them all. And even if they're wearing a mask, you still get a physical description, tattoos, race, gender, all that. So cameras are still important, but this records it all because you're not missing anything with those 24/7 recordings. And that's fantastic. So the Nest Aware service, to me, was the best cloud storage. And that still exists with these new cameras, which is cool. We've also still got that same two-way audio. And of course, I haven't had a chance to test this camera myself, but one of my favorite parts of the Nest IQ and what kind of set it apart from other Wi-Fi cameras was the good speaker and microphone. You could hear a voice on that camera much better than others, and vice versa. When you go to that camera, you could hear much better than you could in, let's say, the Ring. So again, it's got the two-way audio in this camera. Let's hope it's as good as the old ones because it was pretty badass. This new camera, you can also connect directly with emergency services through the app. So the Google Home app, you can immediately call the police right there through the app. That was also in the IQs, as long as you have the Google Home app, but still cool that that feature still exists. So little easier to call the police when you need it. Then new to this Nest camera, which is pretty cool, even if your Wi-Fi goes down or if you have a power outage, this camera will store up to 1 hour of video locally. So that's great. Their old cameras didn't do that. So, one of the big disadvantages to a Wi-Fi camera is, number one, if your Wi-Fi goes down, they don't work. And number two, if your power goes out, it takes out your Wi-Fi, it won't work. Well, this camera will keep going for an hour locally, and that's great. So you don't lose that footage. And most of the time, your Wi-Fi or power will come back within an hour. Of course, there's exceptions to that, but it's great that they have that built into it. So that way you're not missing anything when one of those two events occurs. Now, the one thing that I'm not too excited about on this camera is that it's got a magnetic mount, and that's not a big deal, but sometimes if you've got the camera low enough, that can make it pretty easy to steal. Well, Nest is now saying if somebody does steal your camera, they'll replace it for free. But that's all about coming to somebody like us. We're installing it in the right place just so they can't steal your camera. So there's definitely ways to do that. But the Nest IQ was actually securely fastened to its mount. You couldn't remove it without a tool. So that might be one thing I don't like about this camera, but we'll see. I haven't got it in my hands yet. But it's cool that they'll replace it if it is stolen. Now, one thing to clarify that I said earlier is that there is a weatherproof cable available for this. So yes, it's a battery camera, but if you use that weatherproof cable, you can plug it in and then it becomes a wired camera. So if you're not a fan of the battery, they do give you that option. You just got to buy that cable separately. Not a huge deal, but it's cool that they, Nest has never had the battery option before. So this way you've got both options. So that's pretty sweet. As part of this announcement, Nest has also announced a spotlight camera. So there are several others out there, Ring, Arlo. They've got the, like a floodlight kind of thing. They've announced that that's coming as well, so that's cool. That one's not available yet for pre-order. The Nest camera that we're originally talking about here is available for pre-order today, and then it'll be available in August, so it's just a couple weeks away. But that spotlight camera is coming soon, which is awesome. Let's talk about privacy. A lot of people on Wi-Fi cameras talk about privacy, and they talk about Apple and Google and Amazon, not being very private. Well, this camera does use encrypted video, and it does have two-step verification to log into your account. So they're trying their best. It's also got the little green light on it that indicates that it's recording. Back in the day, you could turn that green light off on a Nest camera, and I think spouses were spying on each other or whatever it might be. But now, just like any other camera, you're notified that that's being recorded. You'll see that that's indicated. And just like any other camera, you can manually turn that camera off. And then there's several other options with Nest where you can home away assist. So basically the camera will know when you walk in the door for privacy and turn itself off if you wanted to. Then when you walk back out, it'll turn itself back on. That's always been one of my favorite features of the Nest. If you don't want it recording, if you've got indoor cameras, you don't want it recording when you're inside, you can turn that off and you don't even have to lift a finger. So again, you'll know when that camera is recording by that little green light. The green light's still around. On a little side note, Nest has their Nest Pro program, which is their dealers. We are one of them, SilverHammer Surveillance. So if you buy a camera, let's say you buy it through store.google.com, which is the Google store, they will direct you to a Nest Pro if you want some help installing it. Looks like these are going to be pretty to install, especially the battery model. But if you do get that weatherproof cord, we're kind of used to making that look a little more professional for you. So anyway, they're going to give you the option to go to a Nest Pro directly in checkout, and you can bypass it if you want to install yourself. But it's nice that they give you that option. And again, here locally, we do a 150-mile radius of Omaha, Nebraska. We'll help you install them. So again, these cameras are indoor or outdoor. They come with an indoor mount or that weatherproof cable if you want to wire it and you want to bypass the battery or at least charge it constantly. So you've got several different options with these cameras. So it's cool that you just have to buy one for indoor, outdoor. Nest used to have the indoor IQ and the outdoor IQ. So this is kind of wrapped into one, at least in this battery model. Pretty sweet. All right, moving on to the new Nest Doorbell. This is a battery-powered doorbell. Nest has not had a battery-powered doorbell before, like Arlo or Ring or some of the others, which is cool. So now if you live in an apartment or a business like mine where you don't have a doorbell, you can use that battery option, which is awesome. So you still got the same alerts. In fact, the old Nest Doorbell alerted you for people. They're also adding the vehicles and pets, which is a great addition. But in addition to the people, vehicles, and pets, you also have package alerts. So it'll detect when there's a package on your porch, it'll detect when that package is moved, and alert you accordingly. So again, a lot of doorbells have that. Nest added it, towards the end of or not towards the end, but later on as the Nest Hello came out. So it's been around for a while, but it's great now that you have the option of different alerts on their new doorbell. But the key, with the alerts, the people. You're only getting alerted for people. There are so many doorbells out there that alert you for everything that moves. And if you've got a bush by your front door, forget about it. So, like Ring, for the longest time, you get at a bush, it's blowing in the wind, it's right by your doorbell, you got alerted all day long, you stopped looking at those alerts because you thought it was the bush. Now, and the Nest Hello always had that person recognition. I remember I bought one for my parents, and it was when we were having a big birthday party at their house. And as everybody was coming to the door, my mom was going in and taking those pictures and naming everybody. By the time everybody left the party, it knew everybody by name as they walked by. So not only is it person recognition, but it'll actually tell you by name once it starts to know somebody. So for example, here at SilverHammer, when John, who works with me, comes to work, I don't even look at it because I know it's him. And that's great. So it just eliminates a lot of those false alarms. This doorbell also has HDR, which helps in the contrast both day and night. So you can have great light both day or night on this doorbell. Again, one of the advantages the Nest Hello had to other doorbells was the speaker and the microphone. You could hear people a lot better, they could hear you a lot better, and it looks like that's going to be the case on this one. Again, I don't have this yet to test. I have pre-ordered and I'm waiting for it to come just like anybody else, but I hope the speaker is the same. Another cool thing about this new doorbell is the price reduction. The Nest Hello was $229. This one's $179. So awesome that both the camera and the doorbell have gone down in price, making it much more affordable and giving you those battery options. Then, of course, on both these cameras, you have the smart home integration. And with the Nest Hub and the Nest Hub Max, with the doorbell, you ring the doorbell, they automatically pop up on the screen, which is awesome. But, you're going to have flawless integration with those smart displays. And smart displays are pretty cool. Check out the Nest Hub, check out the Nest Hub Max. Unlike the Nest Hello, this new doorbell is coming in 4 different color options. We've never had color options before. Now that camera that I talked about earlier, that's just in the white, or they call it chalk. But let's hope the new cameras that come out, they offer the color options as well, because there are other new cameras in the pipeline. This is just the first one announced. And the doorbell already has 4 different color options, which is pretty sweet. So you got a little variety depending on the aesthetics of your house. And again, just like the other camera, when you buy this on the Google store, you get the option to get a Nest Pro to help you install it. So of course you can do it yourself, but if you want a little help, and again, SilverHammer Surveillance is one of those Nest Pros, give us a call, and again, it will directly connect you depending on the area you're in. Again, we do 150-mile radius of Omaha, so we'd be happy to help you out. And then speaking of the other cameras that we know are coming, we definitely know that there's a new wired indoor camera coming. It's only $99, much more affordable than the $299 of the Nest Indoor IQ, so that's exciting. Looks like the same features, looks like it's pretty well made, but again, on any of these, I've got them coming to me. I'm going to test them, and then we'll be doing another video once I have them, so I can actually tell you about the build quality and all that. But man, I'm just excited to have cameras to announce, because if you've watched the channel, I've been frustrated. Again, several comments telling me that I've been repeating myself, but it was to get it to Google. Hey man, we need cameras. I'm not the only Nest Pro out there. There are a lot of people. We went through COVID. We went through hard times. I sold this camera every day, and when you all of a sudden don't have the camera that you believe in most to sell, it's kind of frustrating. So I can't tell you how excited I am that this is finally happening. We've got Matter coming. It looks like in September. We've got this announced, and these cameras are going to be available even by the end of August. So all very exciting in the smart home world. But again, as security people at heart, that's how we started. This is tech and security at its best. And if it lives up to what the IQ did for these lower price points, I'm really excited about it. And they said full line of cameras, so we've already got this indoor-outdoor battery model. We've got the new doorbell. We've got this indoor camera coming. I don't know if there's anything else coming, but hey, this is a pretty good start. So, like I said, we'll keep you updated, and we're going to test these bad boys as soon as we have our hands on them, and a new video after that. But, keep coming back to the channel for more tech talk, security talk, crazy shoplifter stories. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know I'm excited to give it to you and have this to announce, but hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, come back for more, and until next time, peace and love.